Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Breakthrough with your host, Tess Timmons. I'm super excited, so fast, so furious. We're talking about college today. These are two of my former students, Anthony and Max. I'm so excited for them to be here with me today and for all of you to meet them. Anthony, let's start with you. You are in your first year of college. Where are you going to school? How's everything going?
Everything is fantastic. I go to Butte Community College in Oroville, Durham area. I live in Chico, just kind of in that area. Um, yeah, it's something new. Definitely coming out of the mountains and stuff. It's a whole different environment.
Cool. And I think there's like gorgeous areas for you to go and visit. I know you do a lot of like outdoor rec as well. Chico's a good space for that. Nice.
Mhm. Yeah, there's like a park. Sadly, it's like kind of burnt up right now because the park fire just came through here, but. Um, the it's got a nice little creek, but for the most part, it's a
Nice. Well, I'm
beautiful
glad you're
area.
doing okay with the fires and everyone in your area as well. Max, where are you going to school? How's everything going for you?
I'd say everything is going good so far, but I'm going to the University of Nevada in Reno. I got no complaints so far. I was out in Virginia City earlier today watching the hill climb and just getting involved in the area and what's around me currently. But besides that, I got nothing much to say right now, at least.
Well, since you mentioned it, the hill climb, explain to us what that is. You were telling me before we started recording. It sounds amazing. What is this experience? I feel like you and Anthony need to do this sometime.
The Virginia City hill climb, from what I can gather, is that the Ferrari Club, I think of Reno or of the state, they closed the truck route up to Virginia City from Silver City. So there's a starting line in Silver City, and then you race and you end at Virginia City. Is about I'd say about 3.5, 4 mile course, and it's big buy-in. And it's just a bunch of Porsches, Ferraris, 200,000, 500,000, $2.5 million cars, all going through the desert as fast as they can. It's
Oh
really
my
something
gosh,
to
you guys,
see.
if you want to sponsor Max and Anthony to go do this hill climb next year, call us. Okay, Ferrari, call us. Sponsor these two. It would be amazing. You guys, when you were in my 10th grade class and you made podcasts, do you remember what they were about?
Um, I remember we talked about it was with me and Max, and then I think Dane and Finn. Yeah. We talked about like the approach to like go buy a new car and things that you need to look out for when buying a car. And then we also, I think we watched like a small like clip of like a car crash compilation and like what the driver did wrong of some sort. That's like
Okay,
briefly
I
what I
couldn't
remember.
remember.
I I don't remember much of that, but
I couldn't
10th
remember
grade,
if it
God, I
was
mean, I remember
cars or
some, but not.
pranks, which is a whole other episode I'll invite you back to, but I don't want to get you kicked out of college, so we'll wait on that one.
It was
But you
embarrassing.
guys are amazing pranksters as well. Okay, so let's start our conversation about cars. I want to start out, I think, Anthony, like when you guys made that original podcast, it inspired me to think of you again to bring you on for this one because I thought it was just so brilliant that you already, as a sophomore in high school at the time, thought of a podcast episode that was like on fire. So relevant. So when we're thinking of teenagers, a lot of teenagers nowadays like drive either at 16, 18, or 20 years old. Um, when we're thinking about their cars, well, first of all, what was your first car? Are you still driving it? And then we can talk about like tips for teenagers when they are buying a car. Should they buy a used car or a brand new car? Do they look at like Carfax? Do they test drive? Where are they going? A dealership? So any tips you have for them? But Anthony, are you still driving your first car? Have you gone through in cars? Like where are you at in cars?
So over the past year, I've been driving. I have my '09 Subaru Forester still. It's on its way out. It's a first car. It is what it is. But I've owned two Nissan Pathfinders that I just beat on, and I didn't have them for very long. And then just the other day on Friday, I picked up my actual like first car. I got a 2004 Subaru Forester XT that is my like dream daily as of now, and it's perfect. It's got a turbo, and it's got everything I wanted. It's got an exhaust. It's
That's
really
cool.
My first car was a 1996 Ford Bronco XLT, uh, V8 automatic, two-tone paint, blue interior, blue exterior, very 1990s. I love that truck. It was beautiful. I mean, seeing it walking the parking lot. I um I really did love it, but after selling it in early summer, late spring, I really realized that it was a car that I wanted, but not a car that I needed. It was too much. I paying God so much for gas, nine mpg in the city, 15 on the highway. Um, it kept breaking on me, and every time I'd fix it, something else would go wrong immediately. I mean, that's just the nature of older cars, but this is to a point. I'm like, I think this thing hates me. Um, but surprisingly, with all the little things that were wrong with it, I still sold it for a profit, which not a lot of people can say about their first car they sold and made money on it, even with stuff being wrong. And after buying our replacement, a 1991 Toyota 4Runner, uh, I'm very happy with it. It has the four-cylinder, the 22 RE, 5-speed. It's fun to drive. It gets, I mean, I drew when I was driving it down to Virginia City. I got 22 miles to the gallon on the highway for being a body-on-frame SUV, four-wheel drive, and getting that good fuel economy. I don't have a single thing to complain
It's,
about.
it,
So
I
I'm
love
happy
Toyota
with it.
4Runners. I feel like you could throw a kayak up there and just like haul ass and go camping for several days. They're perfect cars. Yeah. What if, what advice do the two of you have for someone who is 16, 18, 20 years old and they're buying their first car?
Don't you want
um I mean when I like look at cars, it really depends on your budget. You kind of want to look for things that are also like good for your area. So for a lot of the United States, all over the world, you don't really need four-wheel drive. Two-wheel drive is really the normal. But if you're up in the mountains, four-wheel drive is pretty necessary. And I mean, so like an example would be like if you're living in San Francisco, you're just commuting from either your home to work or school or something. I would go to like maybe a dealership and talk to them, like see what their options are really. Um, you can get a pretty decent car for like a used car for a pretty good price. And just always remember to just look at the fine details of the vehicle.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice of thinking geographically where you're at. Like moving from Tahoe to the ocean, I still have my all winter tire, year-round tire, and it's so loud on the highway right now, but I'm just like wearing them out. And I don't know if I was in San Francisco, yeah, I might just do an e-bike. Dude, I saw a kid going like over 30 miles an hour on a scooter in San Francisco down like a sharp slope. That is like way too for me. Yeah,
Yeah, those things are
they're way too
fast.
bad.
They're fast.
Do you have e-bikes or scooters? Do you do any of that stuff?
No, not really. Around here, I don't really
Mhm.
have a need for that. My school is like 30 minutes away from where I'm living right now. So it's I have to drive. I have to get on the freeway. But if I wanted to, I'd probably just walk. Everything here is pretty close together, and um, I mean, if you've got the time, you can walk anywhere.
Facts. Max, what would you do? Like you're 16, 18, 20 years old, you're buying your first car. What are some tips that you have for a first-time owner?
I said it earlier. Get get what you need and not what you want, because what you want is going to be it's going to be so good for the first half year, and then like that next half year, and then how more you own it, you're like, this is crippling me financially. I mean, I was paying at least 250, 200 or so $50 for a tank of gas in a pandemic. It was $7 for regular, and that's a 33-gallon tank. Um, so get what you need. And also, I do agree with Tony in that, no matter where you are, get a sensible car. Like, if you're living in Tahoe, living up in the mountains, you need four-wheel drive and you need ground clearance. So you can't get, even, like a S4 that's low to the ground, you need to be above the swings and plow through it. Because, hey, you might need to be somewhere early in the morning. The plows have not come yet, and there's like half a foot, or even a foot of snow on your road, and you got to plow through that. So again, just get what you need. Make sure it's not too expensive, and also set aside $1,500 to $2,000 when you get your first car, because it's going to need work. And make sure you get that work done to it, so you get it sorted, so you're all good for the next half year. You're not worrying about anything. That's something that I didn't do. I just got the car and started driving. I didn't change fluids. I did it until stuff started to go wrong. And now that I have my second car, I know how to go about it a whole lot better than my first one. So take care of it, put money into it, treat it nicely, and just get
Oh,
what you
that's
need.
really good advice. I think too, when you're like 16 years old, there's a max amount of money you can make. So if you're only making so much money, 15, $10 an hour, you can't afford to be spending that much on gas. I think when I was young as well, I didn't really
Yeah.
calculate in getting my oil changed, all of that kind of stuff, and thinking about spending money in that regard. And I'm more of like, I would rather when I take my car into the dealership, if they're telling me, hey, you've got a few more months on this, do it right now. Because I've already taken the day off of work. You already have my car. I'd rather be preemptive than like keep coming back all the time. I think like it's more of an investment to pay now versus getting stranded on the road and having to like get a tow truck. I would always rather take care of stuff right away. You guys were you?
It's a classic.
Oh, sorry,
Or
Max. What were you
what?
saying?
I don't know. I'm just saying, it's a case of either you love yourself now or hate yourself later, or hate yourself now and love
Yes.
yourself later.
When you're thinking about like leasing a car versus buying a car, I've been having these conversations with many people right now because I'm in the near future. I'm kind of whispering it because I don't want my car to hear me quite yet, but I'm looking for a new car. What do you think about leasing versus owning?
Um, I have not done the leasing part of owning a vehicle, but I know my grandma does it. She likes it. You do have to be a lot more cautious because you're you're kind of just borrowing the car until they want it back. So you do have to be a lot more cautious. You can't really do a whole lot more than you can with actually buying your own car. Um, but you do have the car. I think they switch it out every 4 to 5 years or something like that, and then you're paying a flat rate of some sort to whoever you're leasing it from. I think they do it straight. Most dealerships do it straight from them or maybe in a separate company. But in my opinion, I think buying's the way to go because you kind of have more freedom with your vehicle.
Yeah, Max, how do you weigh in on that? Lease or buy?
Um, well, I mean, leasing has always seemed appealing, at least to my parents. They always asked me about it, and I can certainly see the pros of it. Is that if uh you just basically swap out your new car for a newer car, so you get all the latest technology, um, the latest everything, like Tony said, 4 to 5 years, and you just basically you're borrowing a new car. But with the deals and the agreements, you can only drive it, so many miles a year. And in the long run, if you keep leasing over a long period of time, it could actually cost more to be leasing a car than to just have a car payment and to pay that car off. So, I mean, personally, for me, um, I would buy. Yeah, I would buy. I would buy instead of lease. But I mean, but also, I mean, one thing can't forget is that some dealerships they offer lease programs that if you like the car, you can actually buy the car that you have been leasing and use the money that you were paying to the lease against the car. So basically, you basically already are technically paying for it and still driving it. So I say, I think the best of both worlds is to find a dealership that can allow you to buy a car that you're currently leasing. So you can see if you like it. You drive around for a year or two. You kind of locked in for it. But if you really like it, that means you can, and you can terminate your lease, get a borrow money from the bank, and you start paying it off, and it'll be yours. So I honestly feel like that would be a good way to go if you want a brand new.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah, I was kind of looking at that as well. I think the major thing for me that leans me more toward buying versus leasing is the fact that there's like a mileage cutoff. With my current car, the lady who owned it before me, she was a teacher, and every 30,000 miles she would get a new car. So I don't know if she was just pretty much driving it to work and back. But I've had that car for 12 years. It's a Jeep vehicle, Jeep Liberty, and I think I have 140,000 miles on it. I drove the crap out of that car, but I was like really checking out like all of California, doing a ton of road trips. So I wouldn't want to limit myself as far as you only have this many miles to go. However, I'm thinking of buying a new car, brand new off the lot now, because I'm going to be doing more international trips and I won't be doing as many road trips. You guys, my car is a 2008. I've had it for 12 years. I really like the Jeep Liberty and how high up it sits. I know I'm no longer living in the snow, but I do like that lift on my car. I've noticed a lot of new SUVs are low to the ground. They're lower than they used to be. I've been kind of looking at like Broncos because of the amount of room it has off of the ground. It's kind of a weird thing that this is a category for a car, but I feel like if I had a low car, I'm kind of bobbing and weaving through traffic, and it makes me speed and kind of race around people. Versus if I can sit higher up, I feel more comfortable that I can see like three cars in advance and know what's going on. Maybe I'm a control freak on the road. Who knows? I was also looking at like Jeep Wranglers just because I think they look badass and they're tall and cool, and I would be staying in the Jeep family. But some SUVs are very much so like mom mobiles. I'm not trying to buy anything like but what is your advice for me? I'm looking for something economical. I'm a teacher, something that would last for a while. What are some new cars out there? Like, I was talking to my godfather, shout out my godfather, Robert. He was telling me that, like, Kias, which I would have never put that in my wheelhouse, that Kias have like 100,000 mile warranty on everything electrical in them. And then actually with all the bells and whistles, you can buy those new off the lot. Um, and it's a pretty fancy ride, actually. I haven't gone to test drive them at all. I wasn't even thinking of adding Kias to my list, but what cars would you recommend for like an essential worker on a budget, but they're adults, they're wanting to buy a brand new vehicle? Or should it be hybrid? Should it be electrical? What do you guys think?
Um, well, of course, you got if you're thinking like SUV style, you've got Ford, Toyota, Jeep. Um, I mean, that's kind of what I would go for. Toyota will definitely live the longest. Always that's been the thing that they've been working on forever. Toyota's been known to last forever, stay on the road as long as you stay on maintenance, and they're overall great cars. Um, Ford, they're not great vehicles. They have a solid like customer service. Their cars are great. They look good. Yeah, the Ford has been around for a long time, so Ford has got it pretty dialed in. Jeep, the only thing I gotta say about Jeeps is that they got pretty awful gas mileage. I've been driving a few and I've noticed that the Wranglers especially are do not have the best gas mileage and fuel economy, but then again, you're in a Jeep and you're cheaping.
Right? And, like, am I buying it for the exterior so I look cool to everyone else? Am I buying it for the interior so I'm enjoying the ride? But you're right. I could be like Max, dealing out like a lot of money on gas with his Bronco in my Jeep. Those are good points. Max, what do you think I should drive? What's
Yeah.
something economical that you think I should drive?
I do agree with Tony in the sense that Toyotas especially have are known for going a long while. I mean, my Toyota has 250,000 miles on it, and it runs like a top, runs like a sewing machine. And our Land Cruiser has 151,000 miles on it, which is very low for what it is. But I mean, I see it having at least another 100,000, $150,000 miles, not dollars, left in its lifetime. However, I have been seeing problems with the new Toyota Tundra engines and the Toyota Tacoma transmissions and how they've been really shady on warranty claims for the new GR Corolla. I mean, that's all newer stuff. Like the GR Corolla is fairly new, and the redesigned Tundra and Corolla. And I no Tundra and Tacoma. My bad. Um, but that's been a bit worrying for me at least. But I feel like an SUV. And since we are no longer in the snow, I'm assuming maybe some bit more super and a bit more uh hmm, city like esque a bit. I think something a little bit small like a RAV4 or a Honda CRV. Hondas also really good. Hondas are also very reliable. Just gotta take good care of them. I've driven a newer RAV4. You do sit fairly high up. You can see a great deal of the hood. They're small, they're peppy to drive. That's also I'd recommend like a RAV4 or CRV, something smaller but still all-wheel drive, get you around in case you go up to a place that has snow and you need to get around. They're
Okay.
both capable cars. And get good fuel
Not,
consumption.
yeah, no, my mom has a RAV4, and I was just recently driving that while my Subaru was getting a new drive shaft. So I I I really enjoy that thing. It does sit higher. I did notice that I was a little taller, and it's makes good power, great gas mileage. Yeah, no, overall great
Oh,
vehicle.
cool. Okay, I'm gonna go test drive these cars. Thank you. I had like some Toyota Corollas back in the day. I think I got both of those smashed. One accident was my fault, the other was not. Well, there was a large tree and it was like covering the stop sign. So I went through it and this guy was coming down the hill, smashed me, spun out. It was not a good time. But I survived. You guys, let's get away from economical because, this podcast is going to take off. We're going to be making some serious money. You're going to get sponsors as well. We'll all be driving Bugattis. What are some cool cars that you want to drive? No holds bars, no price factors. What are your favorite cars and vehicles out there currently?
Right now, I would really love to drive a lot of different Porsches. There's so many out there, like maybe like like an early 2000s 997. Those things just they've got a they look fun to drive, or like a older 991.2 like GT3 or GT Porsche that would be really fun. Um, of course, lots of different trucks. I right now, kind of my whole friend group is going towards, they were all like, let's do car stuff, and now they're all, let's go do race truck stuff. So they're all building, they're called pre-runners. They're wide, they've got long travel suspension, and they're made to handle bumps, jumps, and drive long in the dirt. But right now, the total group of, like, my group has three. One's not done, one's being built, and then the other two are, one needs work and one's completely built out, and they're really fun. But I love I love riding in them. I hope I can drive one.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Do you guys go like and race them against each other, or are you like joining like competition races?
No, we're just going out to like a dirt road and just driving. Like earlier this year, we were down. closer to SoCal, but on 395 in Alabama Hills, and there's a bunch of just dirt roads out there. And there's this one like pretty flat dirt road that did a bunch of different curves and twists, and we're in my buddy's truck and we're just moving because there's no one out there to really stop you. And I kind of had like my maps pulled up and I was kind of telling him like, hey, here's what's coming ahead, like, you know, kind of giving him like a note to what to expect to see if like he needs to brake really quickly or like downshift or upshift to speed up and or get on throttle more. But it's a lot of fun. Just doing that for
That's
fun, really.
cool. Cool. Oh no, that sounds so fun. Max, what are your dream cars? What are you thinking?
Well, I'd say after going to the hill climb, there were a lot of, like Tony said, Porsche GT3 RSs, um, all just screaming through the desert. Even all the air-cooled Porsches too. I mean, I've driven a 993 late model Carrera 2, and that thing was fantastic. I mean, it was just me. The owner tossed me. He's like, "Hey, go at it." I'm like, "You're trusting me with your Porsche. I mean, you got some problems." But I mean, that thing was an absolute blast to drive. It's not, put you in the back of your seat kind of fast, but fast enough to make you, to put a grin on your face. But really, I mean, sports cars. I mean, I used to be really into them when I was younger, but now that I'm getting more and more into cars and doing more what I want now is that I see myself being more attracted to older 4x4s. And probably the one car that I'd say I've been really dreaming about lately is a mid 90s Toyota Land Cruiser Troop Carrier 70 series. Never sold them in the US. You can import them from Japan, Australia, or Saudi Arabia. It's basically a diesel van, solid front and rear axle, slow, torquey, but can go anywhere. And I just love, the thought of going out and exploring, doing longer trips. I did in one of those over the summer down to Baja, about 600 miles from Tecate down to San Catin and back, all throughout mountains. I just had a wonderful time. I think doing that in a 70 series stripped out troop carrier Land Cruiser would be awesome. So I think if money's no object, I'd be getting myself one of those, perhaps 911
Oh my gosh, that
alongside
sounds
that.
so cool. I love Land Cruisers. They're just dope. It reminds me of like, yeah, being fast and furious, but like more so like Mad Max style and just hitting the road. Um, when I first moved out to
Yeah.
Tahoe, I was doing a trip. My brother helped me like drive out and move out here. And so I was driving through Salt Lake City and then came over the Salt Flats. I had never been past there before. And there were all sorts of cars out there racing against each other. It was such a cool sight because there was nothing, and then all of a sudden, different vehicles in the Salt Flats racing. There were some kind of bullet cars where the people are like laying down and racing in such a small vehicle, and then it has a parachute that ejects so that they can slow the vehicle down. That was crazy. When I lived in Denver, I was driving uh, to work at like a catering company, and there was always this 1961 Corvette car parked in the parking lot, and it just looks like a cool bullet car, and I always wanted to drive that thing. Um, but yeah, I think like Land Cruisers, the old 1990s like Toyota 4Runners I loved. I don't know. And then yeah, just like fast sports cars. I don't know them that well, but I do love them. When I lived up in Tahoe, I would go to Reno to like Hot August nights. I was really into seeing like the rat rod cars there. Um, I've been to a couple shows at like Pebble Beach. I've also seen car shows like driving by the Salt Flats and checking those out. Do you guys go to any car shows or any shows that you're excited to go see in the future?
Hot August Nights was just recently, and that was a great. I went 3 times. It was really fun. Like every time the cars there are just so cool. Like I'm a big fan of old GMC Sierras because my dad used to have one. So every time I see one of those, just like either stock or built, I'm just like, oh man, this is so cool. I want it. where can I find one of these like right now? Where can I get it? But yeah, no, that's a cool event. Monterey Car Week is always something I wanted to
Mhm.
go to. But recently, like I guess we were at a show here in Chico not too long ago that was like 10 cars, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is not it. So we left, but yeah, hopefully soon we can get a better car show in
Yeah, that
Chico.
would be awesome. Max, any car shows that you recommend? And I agree with you, like Anthony, like Hot August Nights is just incredible. There's so many different casinos and parking lots filled with cars that really it takes about 3 days to see it all. It's fantastic. And then they have that like burnout, I don't know, it's like drag racing area over by like the Golden Nugget or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, classic. So fun.
yeah, the Nugget did drag racing. Like across the freeway, Victorian Square, they do the parade at night that it just looks like 1950, like late 1950, 1960, when you like just driving around Reno. Because that area is super cool. But I mean, yeah, that event's I look forward to it because it's just an event that I've grown up going to, and it's always amazing.
Max, any shows that you have seen that you love or are dying to go to?
I have gone to Monterey Car Week twice, and I have to say, I mean, it just desensitizes you. I go to the auctions. I mean, it's kind of like hot August nights, but at the coast, there's so much events going on from Monterey down to Carmel and even south, like Big Sur and Nepenthe. It's just so much to look at, and I mean, and instead of being just like classic American cars like hot August nights mainly is, you see multi-million dollar Koenigsegg's, Bugattis, just driving around, you know. um, so by the time you're done at Monterey Car Week, you see a Ferrari, you're like, nah, it's like seeing another Accord. But Hot August Nights, I've only went once, and that was last year. I unfortunately missed it this year because I was out on the East Coast visiting family. But man, come next year is I really do want to go because when I went once, I really did enjoy it. And when I lived in the Bay Area, me and a couple friends, they had uh, one had a '69 Charger, Mustang S4, Acura NSX, and we'd go to this little car meet up in Pinole called it Typical Tuesday. So every Tuesday night, we just all go to this casual show that afterwards mess around around Port Richmond afterwards. It's just a great time. But I really just say for any car meet, find any local one, and if it's not it, then look for another one. And if it is, keep going and make connections through there. You never know who you might meet through one of
Yeah,
those
good
meets.
call. I know there's like BMW car clubs, etc. So just finding what you're looking for. In Colorado, when I was growing up, there's a place called Bandimere Speedway where anyone could take their car. So 16-year-olds could drag race against each other in their own vehicles. I always think that that would be helpful in other communities to help teenagers have a beautiful outlet like that. Especially in Reno, I was thinking like the casinos could create a drag race area that local teenagers could come and do that at, right? Like they're already wanting to. So why not create that atmosphere?
Though I will say that also when I was in living in the Bay Area, there was a Sonoma Motor Speedway about like a little bit over an hour away from where I lived, but it was just like the place we talked about in Colorado. Anyone could bring their cars. There was a drag strip, and you had people anywhere from built, Dodge Darts to bone stock Dodge Durangos, which were really fun to watch go at it down the quarter mile. And also they had a drift pad as well. So if you wanted to take your car and do donuts in it or to drift around, I saw a guy go in an old El Camino. I saw another guy go in a Toyota Cressida, and it's really just everyone all in between, all going to one place just to let loose and to enjoy their cars and not get nailed by the police and not doing it illegally, like doing the sideshows, which are a big thing in the Bay Area, which really do suck because when they take over the Bay Bridge and take over an intersection in Oakland, it makes standing around so much more of a pain. It's a very bad rep in the car community. It's like a bunch of these people doing illegal stuff for the sake of doing illegal stuff when there's an outlet um, not horribly far away, but it could always be more, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh my gosh, I want to learn how to
More,
drift.
not but more tracks that allow free days that you could go and use their facility.
I saw something the other day on Friday after I was picking up my car. I was driving back from SAC, and the maps took me a different way than the way I originally went down. But um, it was mostly double laned. So I got passed by this car, and then he was going fast. I was doing the speed limit. He was going really fast, but I eventually like caught up to him, and I could this guy just wanted to run and cut people off and drive. So, but we ended up passing a cop because I was right behind him, and he like I just saw him like get ready, like he just kind of veered over to the shoulder, and then he just took off and just drove away. And the cop didn't chase him or anything, but I was like, oh man, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, that is scary. There is a car show that I'm going to in October, and it's like north of San Jose, and it's being put on by a college. I'll have to like research again the name of that college. But they're doing a whole like lowriders car show, and there's sessions as well within this within the car show's in the evening, but the college is doing like tutorial sessions where you can go and sit in and find out about like the history of lowriders, Chicano pride in lowrider vehicles, and like giving it more like depth, right? I think that it's beautiful that this school is finding a way to make this like an academic routed path and looking at um, auto mechanics as like a beautiful, viable industry. Sometimes in America we talk about like blue collar work as lesser than, like even that title, blue collar, but like there's so much money in vehicles and cars that I like seeing that there's less high honor to it. Um, the school that I'm currently working at, we are putting together a car show and it should be coming out in April. Stay tuned. I'll let you know more about that, but we're hoping to have like lowrider vehicles, trophies, etc. So I'll let you guys know once that comes into full fruition. But yeah, lowriders are also something on my bucket list. Back in the day, it was like prom and getting a limousine, and I was like, let's get a lowrider. I don't want to get a limo. We did get the limo.
Like, well, you mentioned like going to like the auto industry. You can go to there's schools that will teach you like the trade of auto mechanics, and you can get like a certificate in that area, and you can like completely like go make that your career. And it's I think 1.5 years, like 3 semesters of schooling, but they completely like it's a complete broken down course. California has, I think, like 4 main like campuses that you like are that are focused on that, but I'm pretty sure a lot of like community colleges and maybe a couple of the UCs in California even offer a auto trade class of some sort. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know that there is like 4 or 5 like auto trade schools that are just specifically for
That's
mechanics.
beautiful, right? Like looking at like vocation in a higher regard. Yeah. Max, any final thoughts on that as far as like careers in cars?
Um, I do feel like, yeah, I mean, it's very viable now, especially with the rise of EVs. There definitely be more and more of a demand for it. And I mean, everyone drives cars, so there's again always going to be a demand for for auto tech. And um, I know there's a college in San Bruno, South Bay area, and I know for certain City College of San Francisco does a program. I have a friend who's going through the program there. He's actually about to finish and get a certificate there, so I'm happy for him that he's doing that. I'm pretty sure TMCC in Reno does it as well. That's all to my knowledge, besides, UTI and Biotech out of Wyoming. But I mean, there are plenty of places that'll offer it. And even, most of them are community colleges, so it's not going to be a huge financial burden on you if you would like to go into that. I want to maybe try to pursue a career in maybe photojournalism, not get still get hands-on with them, but not, do all the mechanic stuff. I like to do that stuff to my own cars, but I can't see it as making money for myself. I like to do it as a hobby. I feel like if I did it as a living, I'd hate it. I'd absolutely hate it. But I mean, I'm doing CV axles on my 4Runner. Actually, when I get done with this podcast, gonna start doing those. But yeah, I want to do something with photojournalism, still with cars. I still want to be around them. I still want have something to do with them. So, but yeah, there are many different careers you can do. I mean, you can be a journalist, writing car reviews, car and driver, go to trend or an uh, online magazine. So yeah, I mean, I'm really the sky's the limit, and I feel like if you have a will to go into any field or cars, there certainly is a way, and there's something for you there, whether it be mechanics, journalism, reviews, content creating. So yeah, I mean, the world is
That's
yours, really.
great. You guys, I did look up the conference that I'm going to. But Max, I think that's brilliant to be thinking about like outside of the box. What about being a photographer of cars? Why not go do it? And you don't have to have just one thing. That could be one of many careers that you partake in, right? And also looking at like high schools and bringing vocational back into the high schools. We used to be able to bring our cars in and get our oil changed in high school, which I know a lot of schools don't currently offer, but I think that's insane and they should. The conference that I'm going to be going to, it's Skyline College. It's up near San Jose, and it's called the Ride Conference. So that's the one that's talking about like Chicano Pride. It'll be like October 11th. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. I think they had so many tickets. It's free, but they had so many tickets to go to it. And then there's different sessions where people are talking and panelists and whatnot. But definitely something that the two of you could check out next year, or you could go online right now and see if there's still offerings and I could see you there. You guys, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. I really appreciate it. Any final thoughts that you want to say before we sign off?
Um, I mean, if you're looking into like getting into cars, I say do it. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. Even if you're just like trying to, you know, just maintenance to your daily vehicle. It's good to know about what to do. Doing your own maintenance, and doing your own work is a lot cheaper. You can save a lot of money by doing your own than taking it to a shop. So, yeah.
And especially with that, since you have YouTube and so many resources, I mean, back before, the internet, you had to look at a service manual and just read the instructions. And now you have videos of people doing it and right in front of you step by step. So, I mean, at that point, just having confidence in yourself. And at the end of the day, it's really just nuts and bolts. So, I mean, save yourself some money, grow up, have a bit more of a bonding relationship with your car. I know it sounds cheesy, but it really does, make yourself, love yourself more and love yourself and love your car a bit more because it's getting done right. And yeah, and getting cars is a wonderful thing. You don't gotta be, you don't have to have the fastest car to have fun. You don't gotta have the flashiest. You don't gotta have, the one that can go around the corner the best. I mean, I drive a bone stock 91 4Runner. And a lot of people see on the street be like, that's just an old beat up SUV. But I mean, you don't have to have, again, a flashy car to love your car, and also a flashy car to tell people that, hey, I'm a car enthusiast. So just love what you have, savor what you have. There's always going to be someone out there who has a car that's faster, a car that looks better, in better condition. You just gotta love what you got, do your maintenance, and just remind yourself that it's a passion, not a lifestyle, not a choice. So I feel like if you really love it for what it is. And yeah,
That's awesome, you
that's what I'd
guys.
say.
Just as you were talking, Max and Anthony, it started to remind me of the freedom of having my car. So many road trips that I've taken up to Mammoth, through Death Valley, crossing 5 hours over to Santa Barbara, and those hours alone blasting music in my car, it was just a sense of freedom that I don't know where you could find that anywhere else. So yeah, I have also have a great passion for a vehicle and just jumping into your car and leaving for days at a time. So if you ever want to go drifting, gentlemen, call me and we can also drive a Bugatti up that hill, Max. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Breakthrough. Have a wonderful day. Bye.